Okay, legends, welcome back to the channel with another Overlord Lord of Nazarick video. Now we're gonna do the updated version of the tier list for all the Arclights that we have in the game. Now these are the ones with the general effects. I'm not gonna go with the Arclights for specific characters. Every character has a unique skill or ability that it's going on with them, so you might like to put their Arclights on them. But there's different kind of Arclights that can be alternative or sometimes better than the ones that you have on your main characters that you might find helpful in some situations and fights, and we'll be talking about them and showing you what are the best and what are the ones that you want to invest in, maybe to have an alternative in your accounts. First of all, we're gonna start with the best one, which is the Fearless one. Now this is specific for tanks. It gives you a general effect, which is a fixed chance of 60% to regain your HP, 6% at 1 star, and it goes up to 12%, and it triggers once at most per action. Per action, what does that mean? It means every time you're gonna get attack, if it's a multi-hit, you're gonna heal only one time maybe, and you will not heal again after this one. But if you get hit again on the same turn, you might heal as well, which is make it a little bit nicer and it will be more consistent in your lineup, especially with units that you want to play like Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth, you can play his Arclight, but you can replace this one, and I think this one is even better on him or any tank that takes a lot of damages or go and tank for you. Yaldabaoth is a great example because he will support and take a lot of damages, and this one will help him regenerate a little bit of health, so it will keep him sustaining and surviving on the lineup. Now, next one we have Target Found. Now, Target Found is the best one for the mages so far that we've seen in the game. It buffs their attack initially, and it will give you a general effect that increases all your AoE damages from your skills by 8% at 1 star and goes up to 16%, and deals extra 4% damage if there are 4 characters or more. If you have it at 6 stars, it will be 8% extra damages if you have more than 4 characters on the lineup. And every time a character dies from the enemies that you have on the lineup, it goes up a little bit, it goes down a little bit, but it's really helpful. It will help you a lot. Now, another one that we have, which is Picnic. Picnic is the best one for Rangers, specifically for Rangers, because it will give you this initial boost by 8% at the start as a crit rate, and it goes up to 15%. 15% on crit rate, it's amazing. It's really good because you're gonna get 15% from the gear, 15% from this at 6 stars, of course, if you max it out. That's a 30%, and every ranger have a 20% on base, or 22 sometimes, but 20%, let's say. So you're gonna get it to 50% just without equipping, without doing anything, just equipping them. Now with enchants, with substats or crit rate, you're gonna have higher crit rates. Now the general effect of it, that each crit rate will allows active skills to deal extra damage equal to 16%, and this is only at 1 star. 16% is huge because it's based off attack, and it goes up to 32% if you have it at 6 stars. I would say this is one that you might consider if you didn't pull any kind of Arclight that is specific to your characters as characters that are rangers. This one would be the best one for you to go with. Now, again, we have one for the healers. So I'm putting, as you see, one for the healers, one for the mages, one for the tanks, and one for the priests. Now, I'll be putting one for the warriors, but you might not like it. I'll be talking about it soon. Now, Aura's Lunch, absolutely fantastic. It's a general effect that will help you. It's the highest one. It's the best one, actually, on any healer to play, because it will give you basic HP, and it will allow you as a general effect to enhance healing effects by 7.5. Now, this is only at 1 star. When you get it to 6 stars, it will be at 15%. But the basic thing about it, it will give healing receive boost for the primary target that you click on while you're healing with your character. Regardless if it's an ultimate, first skill, or second skill, this will be great. And the healing boost goes for 2 rounds, and it's up by 30%, which is absolutely great. For the one that I said that you will not like it so much. Now, I'm not including all the pay-to-win Arclights, not including them, as I'm including everything, but I'm not telling you that they are the best. I'm putting them on their respective places, and even they get some points down because they're pay to win and not accessible. So this is the pay to win one that you buy, or if you get the battle pass, if we're gonna say it's the battle pass, you will get life or death. You can pick one of 4, I think, or one of 3, or something like that, or 2 maybe. But this is one of the best ones actually in the game for the warriors. Now, it gives you a basic stats on attack percentages, which is really great, and the general effect is recovering HP by the amount equal to 7.5% of the damage dealt with your skills. Any skill, first skill, second skill, or ultimate, it will give you a 7.5 lifesteal, and this goes at 1 stars, and at 6 stars it goes to 15% lifesteal. Now, with different lifesteal effects or different things that you might play on your lineups, this will be absolutely huge, and it will help you out a lot, and this one I would say is the best one for the warriors. Every single one other than this one will be a little bit less. Now we're gonna go to the S rating, and we're gonna start off with perception. Perception is also for tanks, which is really great for all the knights. It gives you HP boost, and the general effect is reducing the damage taken by 12.5 for the next 2 hits after using an ultimate. So if you're spamming the ultimate, so it's 12.5 on 1 star, it's 25% on 6 stars. 25% is huge. Every time you use your ultimate, 2 hits will be reduced. The damages of the 2 next hits that you're gonna take will be reduced. It does not depend on anything as like rounds or something like that. Next, we have coming hot for rangers, which is Terribly Sorry. Terribly Sorry is one of my favorite for rangers. For specific reasons, I'll be talking about it. It's kind of defensive and offensive at the same time. Now, if you have high crit rate on ranges, which they have already, you can play it and it boosts your crit damage. It starts by 9% at 1 star, and at 6 stars, it goes up to 18%, which is absolutely huge. Now, the cool thing about this one is when you do an active, you're gonna enter stealth mode. Now, at the start of the battle, I think you enter stealth mode at the start immediately, and after doing an action or after the stealth mode is removed, you're gonna go and increase your crit rate by 20% at 1 star, and it will go up to 40% at 6 stars, which is absolutely nice. It means it will guarantee you a crit rate always after you get out of stealth. It does not matter if you click a skill and go out of stealth, or the enemy attack you with an AoE and gets you out of stealth, you're gonna gain this buff from it, unless you get buff block, of course, and it has a cooldown of 1 round. So every round you can do that, not on the same round. So in the same round, if you get 2 or 3 actions, you're not gonna get into stealth mode more than 1 time, but it will increase the attack by the crit rate at 1 star by 20% and 40% at 6 stars. Absolutely nice. Now the cool thing about it, it's kind of like protective versus single targets, because if you go into stealth mode and you go into single target, and single target wanna hit your lineup, it will allow you to not take that damage. They need to do something AoE for you to get the damages. It buffs the crit damage up to 18%, which is really huge after you get the buff on crit rate, which would allow it to be one of the best ones actually to be held by rangers. Now we have Underworld Forces. This one for mages. Now, this one you might say you might compare it to the target found, which one is better for you. But after fighting or after doing some testing with this one, this is great for bossing actually, if you want to hold it on a character that is a mage, which will help you out with a little bit of buffs taken on your characters. Now this one increases your EP, not your attack, as a base. So at 1 star, you're gonna get it at 10% and 20% at 6 stars, which is decent to have it at 1 star, because the 10% on EP is really huge. Now the effect is after dealing any type of damage, there is a 30% fixed chance. That's at 1 star. At 6 stars, of course, it goes to 60%. It's a fixed chance. It means it does not be counted by EP or ER, that to inflict one of 3 things, which is defense down, speed down, or attack down on the enemy. You can do it on bosses, which is really huge on bosses when you do the defense down, or if you do the attack down for more protection. This is basically for mages, so mages can help with putting debuffs on the bosses. And this and if the target does not have it, so if you're playing against, like, let's say a boss and 2 minions, if they don't have it, it will go and prioritize the ones that doesn't have it. So if you already apply it on 1 target, the next target will be applied on whenever you use the skill again, and it's up for 2 rounds, which is decent. I would say one of the most consistent ones, and because it have high EP, and we need a lot of EP on these characters that are from mages, because sometimes they miss putting these buffs or their hits on them. Now we have Onward. Onward, I would say it's as free to play. If you want to put it as free to play for warriors, it's the best one for the warriors as free to play. But is it as good as Life or Death? So they do different mechanics. This one gives you life and survivability because of the life seed that you get. This one will give you more damages. So the effect is increase the damage of the next skill after dealing a basic attack by 15% at 1 star, and it goes up to 30%. So it's consistent until the end of the battle, and it's accessible as free to play. You can summon for it and have more copies of it, and you can build it in the future. And it's really good because if you don't have the Arclight of the character, you can play this and it's super safe, and it allows you to deal more damages. This one is more kind of like survivability, because it will give you portion of your damages that you dealt as a life steal back, so it could keep you more surviving. So you don't need to play a healer. Let's say you can play a buffer on or not a healer. I would say I would put it here actually. Let's put it up there because it's the best one as free to play go. This one is pay to win, so you decide which one is better for you. If you want to go for the one for life steal or the one that deals more damages. For me personally, I would go for this as free to play and skip the one that is pay to win, unless I can afford it or we can go and 6-star it. It will be great for the life steals that you get back from attacking the enemies. And now here where we get to my favorite part, which is the SRs, which we start with Commander's Name. Commander's Name is absolutely fantastic for mages. Now this one we were playing on Idol Shaltir when we didn't have her Arclight until we got her Arclight then and upgraded to her Arclight. We got to play it instead of this. Now this one is specifically good because it increases the attack. Now I know you can get it to 6 stars. I'm gonna talk about the SRs at 6 stars, not at 1 star and 6 stars, because it's easy for you to actually upgrade them and 6-star them. I 6-starred every single one that I needed actually from the SR. So it will give you a 6% bonus in attack as base stats, and the general effect is for every existing enemy, the attack will increase by 4% up to 16%, which is huge actually to go to 16%. And every character that dies, you lose 4% of this attack. It means by the end, if there is one character, you will still get the boost by 4%. With the basic 6%, it means 10% in attack. This will stay with you on your unit, which is absolutely nice. It's consistent, it's really good. I would say it's the best one as an SR so far because it will help you out, and sadly it's only for mages, so you can't use it. There's no Arclight that you can use on all classes so far in the game, which is kind of like, I wish they do something like that because it will be absolutely nice. Now another one that I would put on the S rank from the SR, yes, it is the as we call it AAMI, or All Appraisal Magic Item, because this one is for healers and it will enhance the healing effects from 7.5 up to 6 stars at 15%, and it will give you bonus on HP on your healers, which is decent. Any healer can wear this. It's absolutely fantastic. It's really nice. Now, you might tell me, can we play it on somebody like Mask Shaltir? No, because Mask Shaltir will not buff your healing, and when she takes with the second skill that 20% of HP, she will not give you a buff on the 20% back. So you will gonna get only what she stole from you as an HP or borrowed it, and you will get it back from her. So this one does not work on buffers or shielders, but it works on anybody that heals, so it will be super helpful on your lineup. Now, another one with the S tier, which is for the Rangers. This is the best one for the Rangers so far on the S tier. Why is that? Because it gives you crit rate. Basically, it starts at 5%. Let's say at 6%, it's 9% crit rate, which is really decent. Now, this effect for victory is absolutely nice because it increases your crit rate for the next active attack by 30% if you fail to crit. So if you go and you have high crit, let's say you have 70% or 80% crit rate, and you go and hit that target and they have high crit resistance and you don't crit, it guarantees you, or almost guarantees you, a crit rate on your second attack by 30%. It increases by 30%. It means it gives you higher chances to crit, which is really decent. And the crit effect will reset as well. So if you keep critting, there's no problem with this one because it will give you crit, you will have the crit rate. But if you miss a crit rate, it will almost guarantee you for the next attack to crit, which is really decent. I would say this is one of my best ones in the SR for Rangers, because Rangers lack of love a little bit actually on the SR Arclights, and this one makes it really, really good. Now, boost morale in A rank. Now, previously we were saying that boost morale is not that great because of what it does actually, because it's an assist rate specific Arclight. So it will give you at 1 star 10% assist rate, which is actually huge. With the enchant, if you get assist rate 6%, that's 16%, which is kind of crazy actually for characters that does not even assist. Like if you're playing a ranger that does not assist and you put this on them as 6 stars, you're gonna get 20% assist rate. So you might also assist with that character. So you will gonna give him or give them another ability or passive, which is assisting by their own attack, and their attacks might do some major damages, specifically with characters that do not have assist on their attacks, which is kind of crazy. Now, the general effect is the user gains 25% turn meter. Now, it starts at 12.5 and it goes to 25% if you get it to 6 stars after launching any assist or chase or counter up for 1 time per action. So it helps out when you play it on counter units or assist unit, on chase units, or a character that does not have assist. But if you assist using this one, they will gain that turn meter boost, and it will help them out to go and do more damages or skip somebody's turn from your enemy lineup, and this will help you dish out more damages, which is really great. I like it actually. I know it lacks a little bit on damages. It will reduce, you're not gonna get a buff and attack or crit damage, but you're gonna get that assist rate to deal more damage. It will increase your DPS in theory or in practical ways. Now, next we have Nabe versus the world, or versus Skeleton Dragon. Well, I don't know why I said the word. Now, this one is for mages. This one does not increase attack or EP, it increases ER. This is a defensive one, situational, you can play it. Now, it's really decent because it gives you 10% ER. Now, I wouldn't recommend this one. I want to put it lower, but many players are playing it and they telling me that it helps a little bit with a lineup that is full ER and you don't want to get stunned or anything else on your mages. You don't want to play so much damages. You want to play protection a little bit and stall the game a little bit more and more. Especially if you're playing a mage on a counter team, you want to take less damages or more control or more debuffs on yourself. So if you 6-star it, you get an effect at 100% fixed chance. Now it is at 50% at 1 star, but it goes to 100% fixed chance to nullify one control effect, and it is effective once per battle. So you get into the battle, they're playing Zaryusu. Zaryusu jumps, try to freeze this character. Let's say Idol Shaltir, you're playing against Zaryusu. If he's gonna freeze her, she's gonna remove the freeze for one time, for the first time. It means she's active on the second round, which is actually decent. I wouldn't say build it, it's very situational. This is the last one that I would build for any mage, in my opinion, for me personally, because I feel like I need to buff them and attack, and I have different ways of protecting my lineup. But this one is actually decent if you want to go and play it. It will help you a little bit, and it will make you sustain and not get controlled with taunt from Albedo, from stuns from Demiurge, or anybody else, shock from Ego Aura maybe, or freeze, which is okay. Now, comes next is 500 million gold. You know that 500 million gold from the anime, the revivability that Ainz does for Shaltir. It's not specific to healers, it's specific to the spellcaster class, because anybody that can shield or buff or debuff or something like that, if they use their ultimate, they can use it. So it has a general effect. It increases your HP first, and it gains 60% fixed chance up to 100 if you 6-star it, after using an ultimate to randomly purify one debuff from an ally. Now this happens twice. If you 6-star it, it happens 3 times per battle, and this will be more consistent. And this is the replacement for Renner Arclight actually, to play this one if you don't have Renner, because she goes and use with her Arclight to purify consistently. But if you don't have it, you can play this one and she will purify actually and remove it from your lineup and from herself, which is absolutely nice, up to 3 times of course. Now we have the pay to win one, which is Farewell. Farewell is decent, it's okay-ish. I wouldn't say it's the best. It's for tanks, and it increases the defense, not the HP. So the base stats is increasing the defense, which is really good. I would say it's good for Albedo right now. Albedo is on defense. You play her on defense. It's a Knight Albedo, and actually for PDL. But both of them, you need their Arclights if you want to play them more in PvE. They can be played on PvP. I showed you playing them on PvP, and we show how Albedo is good in PvP, but they falling quickly, especially with the high ER meta. That shock is not doing great, and the shields are not the most important things, and taunting is not working perfectly. But the general effect here is increasing defense by 15% when HP is above 40%. It means at 6 stars, you're gonna get it by 30%. So increasing the defenses by 30% when you're above 40%, which is at the start of the battle, is really huge for characters that are good on defense. But we have an ignore defense meta and true damage meta, that this one a little bit falls. This is why I told you not every Arclight is OP that you can put it higher on the tier list. We can keep them down there and it will be actually fine. We have also the pay to win one, also for mages. This is a different one. It's called the Great Supreme one, I think. Yeah, it's the Great Supreme one. Now this increases your attack, finally, a pay to win one that is worthy to be actually used. But it's not as good as the free-to-play ones like Target Found or Underworld Forces. I think this one comes a little bit lower than them. This one actually with the damages or with the skill, it increases the skill the skill deals more damage, equal to 15% for the primary target each time. So every time you go and attack, it increases it. Not increasing continuously, it's only 15%. At 6 stars, it's 30%. So you hit a primary target and the rest. The primary target takes extra 30% damage, and it lasts for 1 round, and the next round it gets removed. Then after that, it will be using it, which is increasing the high damage output from your unit. But I wouldn't say it's worth investing in, because you can get the high attack from target found, which is really great. I think target found is the best one to play around, or get it for the mages. I highly recommend playing these free-to-play ones, because you can go and farm them, actually summon for them from the Arclight. Randomly you might have them, and you will not have problems actually with having different kind of ones, in my opinion. If you want to go and buy the ones that are pay to win, be my guest, but I'm just giving you my opinion on these ones. Now, next we have another SR that goes into the A rank, which is really decent. It's also for warriors. It increases the attack, and the general effect for it, it's increasing the attack for every 15% of HP lost, up to 4 times. It starts at 3%, it goes up to 6%, and by 4 times it's 28% or 24% increase in attack, which is really great. You will lose a lot of HP. Now, if you regain the HP, you lose the buff. It's not continuous. Like, it's not like you gain the 6% because you lost 15%. If you heal the 15%, the 6% stays. No, you're gonna lose also the buff. You need to stay low on HP to get a lot of damages. This is good early game to mid game. Now, if you build, you can put it on the side until you get the Arclight of the specific designated character that you have the Arclight for. Now, on B ranks, we have Justice have arrived. Now, why this one drops lower than the others? Now, of course, this is, you might say that it's also similar to Fearless, but it's less, because it has a cooldown of 1 round, and you restore HP when you, so it's actually, you do an action, the general effect, you recover HP of your 18% at 6 stars of your max HP with no more than 75% of the HP left every action. So if you're lower on the 75% of HP, you can gain these HP back, and it will help you actually sustain a little bit, but it has a cooldown of 1 round. So it's not super consistent. This one, every time you're gonna get hit with Fearless, you're gonna recover HP. 60% fixed chance is really, really high, and you're gonna get hit a lot, especially with units that can go and support. And this is why it's superior to these ones. This one is situational. If you build it to 6 star, it's not bad. Being in B, it's not bad. But there's different options. There's one that increases defense. There's one that gives you different kind of things on your lineup, on your tanks actually to survive. And you're gonna play the Arclights of the specific tanks. But some Arclights are super good, just like Fearless, that you might play it on characters such as broken, like Yaldabaoth. He goes and support every time his wings are up, so he will gain more HP, and he life steals on his own and regain HP. That would put him on a good relative point. Hymn of Loyalty, or what I used to say on the previous tier list, Hymen of Loyalty. Everybody laughed. Yeah, Englishant is going crazy with Pika. Anyway, Hymn of Loyalty. Good for warriors. It's okay for warriors. I wouldn't say good. I would say stay away from it. Don't build it. Now, you're gonna tell me why. Because I tested it and it didn't give me the good points. I would say, I would talk about it and tell you why. Now, the general effect, it's when you use the ultimate, there's a 50% fixed chance, up to 100 of course, for gaining 1 random buff. Now, there's 3 random buffs that you can get. It's increased turn meter by 20%, which is okay, or recovers 10% of HP. You can say it's a lifesteal, or you can gain an attack boost for 2 rounds. Now, all of these, you can gain them from different characters, or if you're playing support or something like that. You don't want this specifically, and this one does not give it to a specific or to random characters. It gives it to the character that holds this one. So let's say you're unlucky, you're always recovering HP, you have HP down or healed block on yourself, it will not help you. Turn meter boost, we understand turn meter boost is decent. 20% on turn meter boost is really good, but actually this is not what you want to get. Now, I would say the turn meter is really good, but the attack boost, you're gonna get a lot of buffers on attack with a million kind of things. Maybe the leader, maybe a buffer on your team. This is why I wouldn't say this will help you a lot. Maybe something else that would give you damages. As we said, this one heals you, this one gives you damages more, and it's more consistent. So why build this one if you can build this one on the side? Of course, you're not gonna build all of these Arclights. You're gonna specifically pick the best of the best, because you will have it will be an alternative Arclight on your characters that you don't have their own Arclights. Now, comrades, another one for spellcasters or healers, as we say, or the supports. Let's say they're the supports. So it's give you basic HP as well, and upon entering the battle, it reduces the damage taken by 12.5%. Now, it goes up on 6% to 25%, which is huge, by the way. Reduces the damages dealt by the enemy for the first 3 attacks for 2 rounds. this is only happens at the start of the game, and then you lose the effects of this one. So this one is basically, you're not gonna get one tapped or one shot on the first round. It will support or protect your supports from the one shot meta, or from the one OTK, one round kill or something like that, one turn kill, which is decent. I would say it's situational, and then it will only give you the passives that it has by HP and attack, but it will not give you anything else. It's upon entering the battle, reduce the damage taken by 25% at 6 stars, because at 1 star it will be 12.5. Now 12.5 is decent, specifically if you're playing it with different characters like Yeldabaoth that will give you Congeal, so your HP and will not drop by 50%. So if you have that, you don't need this actually. So this is why I would say it's not highly recommended to play it. Play different something that will give you cleansing, or give you maybe a buff on healing, or give you buff on something else. This one is kind of like very situational and niche in my opinion. We have another pay to win one, and I put it in B. Yes, in B. Now it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's really good. Anything that gives you crit rate is really decent. At 1 star it's 8%, and it goes to 15% at 6 stars as crit rate, as normally it will give you. Just like Picnic. This is the basic for it. Now what does it do? Each crit increases the crit damage by 3.5, and it stacks up to 7, or it goes up to 7% and stacks up to 5 times. Now 5 times, that's the 35% in crit damage, and it removes 1 stack every turn. So every time you hit, it removes a stack, and then it gives you another stack, which is decent actually. I wouldn't say it's bad. It gives you good amount of damages on rangers, but is it worth it though? No. And the multiplier of crit damage is really high. So in the game, if you enchant crit rate is less numbers of enchantments, so they will give you lesser percentage, but crit damage you're gonna get high percentage. Plus you're gonna get high percentage on substats on crit damage. So I would say crit damage is not a problem to find in the game. So you don't want something to increase your crit damage. Maybe increase your attack by every crit that you do. That would be more decent, or increase the damage dealt will be absolutely great, because there's damage boost, as you know, and this is superior to crit damage and crit rate in my opinion in the game. This is why it falls out a little bit here. So I wouldn't highly recommend, even if you're paying, get one maybe for collection. Do not build it up. It's not that worth it. Again, with the tanks, with the SR, Arclights, a war, a trap, decent one. It also gives you defense. So if you don't want to play anything that is SR and this one is maxed for you, it goes up to 9% as defense, which is huge, and it increases the defense by 6% for every 15% of HP you lose, up to 24%, which means it gives you something. If you lose your HP, it will give you something. It will boost your HP. Similar as the Symmetry, whenever you lose HP, it will give you bonus attack. So you're not gonna lose something and not gain anything. This one will allow you to a little bit tank with the characters that depends on defense. It's a decent one. It's B ranking because you're losing HP. You don't want to lose HP. Now, Winning Strike. Again, another one for ranges that will give you crit rate. Decent at max level. It will give you a fixed chance of 100%. It will trigger bleed, burn, or shock, and the cooldown is 2 rounds on a random target, which is kind of okay. It's okay. It's super niche. I would say it's one of the worst in my opinion, but I think there's it's one of the worst for the rangers. I would say it's down there, but I'll keep it up here so we can keep the table clean. It's okay. Why I always highly put everything that has crit rate up a little bit notch, because crit rate is really important in this game, especially that your enemies also have crit resistance down, or crit resistance rate. So they're gonna get crit resistance. It means you can't crit them, or you can't apply crit rate on them, which this one gives you 9% crit rate, which is really decent. And if you're playing any lineup that depends on putting dot on your enemies, this one will allow you to have a fixed chance of 100% to apply a debuff on them, which is burn, bleed, or shock, which is okay-ish in my opinion. Now, Battle for the Headwife. Now, in my opinion, Battle for the Headwife for the Warriors is the worst in the game. Now, you can say that it's not. It's about counter rate. I don't like it. It's not like the most decent one. I know there's not any Arclight other than this that will give you counter rate, but this one is okay-ish. I built this one. I have it at 2 stars. I'm using it on my Cocytus, okay? But the point is that it's not that good. So, the general effect is giving you counter rate. If you 6 star at 50%, but if you don't at 1 star or 2 stars, it will give you something like 25%. to counter and increase your counter damage by 25%, up to 50% if 6 stars, upon entering the battle for 2 rounds. Only 2 rounds. After 2 rounds, you don't have the counter rate anymore. You're not gonna do the damage after you counter. Okay, this is only for 2 rounds, which makes it the worst in my opinion in the game. And I would say strictly avoid this one because you have different options. You have a lot of other ones that you can play, even SR ones that you might play, and it will give you even better numbers or better solution for you to deal extra damages. Now we have another pay to win one, which is one of the worst, and I think it's the worst pay to win one among them all, which is for the spellcasters or the supports, healers, whatever you want to call them, which is Theocracy. Now this one will give you HP as well. The effect is restore 10% of HP for the unit with the lowest HP after using an ultimate, and it has a cooldown of 2 rounds. I don't know why they put this strictly on that. It should be after using any ultimate, you need to give 10% of HP. That's at 1 star. Now, of course, at 6 stars, it will go on to 20% of HP. Still doesn't make it really good. Now, how is it good on what character? I would say it shines the most on characters that does not heal and they want to use ultimates, such as Masked Shaltir. But Masked Shaltir, Arclight, is super important on her that you will not use this one. Now, you want to try, maybe do some test with Masked Shaltir. If you didn't get her Arclight, you can play this one. So every time she uses her Arclight, she will heal by 10% at 1 star, at 6 stars at 20%, the lowest HP character on your lineup, but it will have a cooldown of 2 rounds. And if her Arclight procs, or you can, by some type of game technical usage, you're gonna go and proc it after 1 round, this will not be ready and you will not heal back to back. So it have a cooldown of 2 rounds. I don't know why they put the 2 round cooldown. If they didn't put it, I would put it somewhere in A, to be honest, because you can spam with Vertmari set ultimates from your supports and heal 10% for the lowest target if they are not healers, if they are strictly buffers, such as Masked Shaltir or any buffer that we will have in the game. Now, next we have Freeze. Freeze is the one that I always confuse with the commander's name. I thought that Freeze was the best one. It's the commander's name which is the best one. Freeze is decent, don't get me wrong, okay? It will give you an attack boost for the mages and increase the attack by 8%. That's at the start. Let's read that at 6 stars. Increase the attack by 16% when the battle starts, and the effect depletes 4%, 4%, 4%, 4% every round until it reaches 0. So it's good with the burst team at the start, but in the long run, if you don't kill your enemies, you will gain the 0% from the attack buff, and it will give you just the 6% from the basic flat or from the stats that you will have it. I would say it's okay, it's decent as a starter at the start of the game, early game. Just make it 6 stars and dismantle it. It's not usable. Don't use it on your characters. It will actually help you out at the first 3-4 rounds, and then it will actually be 0 depleted. This is my favorite by far, and I played it, I 6-starred it from the start of the game. It's called I Don't Believe It, and I don't believe that this one is... I still have it. It's 6 star for me. I will never reset it. I love it. Specifically on one character, which is PDL, or any character that is involved by shields as a tank, okay? If they benefit from the shields that they have. On PDL, because you know PDL, when you have a shield on PDL go and do the support. So he goes and tank for you a hit if it's a single target. Now AoE removes this one because it's only up to 16%. So you're gonna get a shield at the start of the battle by 16% up to for 2 rounds. Okay, and it could be removed immediately. But it's still decent, it's really good. It's a cheesy way for me to stop somebody as moment at the start of the game to go and attack somebody and one-shot them by their ultimate. So he can go and my PDL go and support. This is what I want to say on it. So it basically gives you HP boost at the start by 6% if you 6-star it, and it will give you a shield according to 16% of the maximum HP of the holder of the Arclight. Decent, I like it, I love it, it's my favorite, but I would say, yeah, not worth it. In the future, you want to hold your Arclight from the characters that are having their Arclight respective to them. Okay, now if you made it this far for this video, please drop a like, because every like helps us out with the algorithm, so I can make more videos if you like these content that I'm making, so I can make a lot of more videos and keep you entertained. Now we're gonna go for defense preparations. Now this one, actually, I mean, because it's SR, now if it was an SSR with higher values, I'll put it maybe in B or A, but it's not that good in my opinion. So it has a general effect. When you lose loses 50% of HP when taking damage, not more than 20% of max HP. What does that translate? Let's read it at 6 stars. So you lose 30% HP maximum if you get hit by more than 10% of your max HP. An enemy hit you more than 10% of max HP, you don't lose more than your 35% of HP, no matter what the hit is. Now you can play around it with Congeal, it could work, this is decent, and it happens only one time per battle. If it happens every 2 rounds, let's say, this will be an S tier, by the way, but it happens only one time per battle. This is why it loses its value in my eyes. Now, last one is a Funeral in Karn Village. In my opinion, this is the worst Arclight for the spellcasters. So each ally that their HP goes lower than 30%, it means in critical mode, you're gonna get a boost on 20% on this holder character. So let's say it's on Renner, okay? Renner is already speedy. You need your characters on your lineup to lose 30% of their HP so you can get a boost in speed by 20%. It means it put you high on the line on the turn meter, which is kind of like, in my opinion, kind of stupid. I mean, you don't need to play this, and I would say avoid it. It's not that good. It's really not that good. I would say play anything else. There's a lot of spellcaster good shenanigans that we talked about, good Arclights that you might play. And yeah, this is basically it. It looks nice, it looks decent like this. I would, because this is free to play, I put it here. I usually put it in somewhere here, so the tier list might look like this in the end for you. But because it's free to play, I would highly recommend putting it here, since we don't have anything except the pay to win one up here. So it's generally that the game gave us the good, or the excellent, the very good, the okay, and the less than average ones in specific or in particular to their distribution. It looks decent. If they add any more Arclights in the game, I would add them on the list. I will make them for you. I would say characters that you must put their Arclights on them. Somebody as like Mask Shaltir, you need to play her Arclight. Her Arclight is really decent on her, is really helpful. You need it on her. I would say Zariusu's Arclight is super important on him because it will give him Indomitable. The Arclight of Icy Kokaitis is super important on him, also have it on him. Brain Arclight will allow him to deal extra damages, which is important on him. And Crush Lulu. Crush Lulu, the character on her own, she's trash without her Arclight. Her Arclight make her OP. Without her Arclight, she's trash. So don't try to play any Arclight on Crush Lulu for a spellcaster other than her Arclight, because it reduces damages, it gives you high ER, it will help you out the entire game. And yeah, that's basically it for the video. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this list, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.